last, Trevor and I have decided we're going to go live and trade the market open here in futures across prop firm accounts. And really, we're going to focus on NQ and gold and oil. Trevor, do you trade anything else other than NQ or ES?
I will jump to gold if it's a move that is. I always forget, if NQ is dying or something. I'm always trying to catch bounces on NQ instead of flipping to a gold or some other kind of opposite at times movement.
Sure.
I'll jump into gold at times, but pretty much I stay in NQ and MNQ.
Yeah, sounds right. I feel like most people are trading NQ across the board. A lot of people who want a little less volatility will stick with ES. I see some gold contracts come through on Traders Post, and then other times I'll see some oil, some nat gas, some 10-year treasuries. Those seem to be the most popular. You know what I don't see though is people trading the crypto futures contracts, which to me
Mm,
are like still a great move. Like there's still plenty of trend following to do here in crypto, and you can still trade the micro contracts as well, which are fairly small size. I think the point value on micro Bitcoin is like 10 cents. Yeah, it's 10 cents per point. So it's not a lot of movement per contract, and you've got the ability to scale some of these contracts. And I'm pretty sure most of the props support crypto futures as well.
yeah, I always forget that you're able to trade crypto on futures if you're not like a big crypto person, but you're trying to catch Bitcoin moves or whatever.
Yep. So interesting open here so far on NQ. We see a bounce off of that support level of 22,607. And I did a live stream yesterday with the futures desk, and that was exactly the point that I was expecting buyers to show up. So not only did they show up at that second zone that I was anticipating, which is probably where I should have taken profit. I definitely took profits too early yesterday at the first support zone that I called out, and it went to the second support zone. So then it looks like overnight it retraced and then retested that support zone. So clearly 22.6 is a very important level for the market at the moment.
Do you typically wait for a period of time? Or are you kind of jumping in right at the open? How do you normally trade?
Sometimes if price action jumps out at me right at the open, I will sometimes take a trade. It just depends on how active the market really is. This is clearly an opening range just in the first few minutes here. So I'm going to give this a bit to see where the market really wants to post. In general, I have a few different strategies that are running all at the same time. One of them is my VWAP to close strategy, which runs on the 5-minute chart. And trades basically above or below VWAP and has a fairly good and consistent track record of about a 50 to 60% win rate and about a 1.5 profit factor. It's not tremendously profitable, but it holds a couple contracts to close, and it does pretty well, especially if there's a bullish session and it moves quite a bit in a single session. So I will keep an eye on this strategy because sometimes this will call out a long once we close above VWAP, and that's kind of a guiding indicator. But in general, I just want to look at, did we gap down? Are we hitting major support and resistance levels on the higher time frames? I always do the top-down analysis first. Like looking on the daily chart, we can see that we hit some kind of resistance at 22,900 on NQ, and we are coming back to test this zone around 22,650. So from here, if this is a support zone where buyers are going to continue to show up, I just want to see if buyers are going to continue to remain bullish above VWAP here from the open before I actually get long. But I would definitely want to take like whatever bias makes sense from the open, right? Did you find any music for us, Trevor?
I don't think I can put it on. I'm not an admin.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Let's see. I see music. Let's try chill.
Yeah.
Hate it. You know what it reminds me is it's like an old video game, like Sims or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's too slow. Hip hop? Are we kicking it like 90s style? Where is it? take it. Let's go with that.
So when you're trading, you're trading off of the chart using your lines indicator and everything?
That's right. Yeah, I actually kind of switched it up this morning. There's a very clear and very strong relationship, obviously, between NQ and MNQ. You know, it's like 99.99% correlated. But that slight difference between those two contracts is enough for me to want to focus on the contract that has the most institutional flow and volume and really signal. So what I've decided to do is start moving my lines over to the NQ chart. But when the alert triggers, it's actually going to trade MNQ. So I'll be trading the smaller micro contract from the larger chart. This is a pretty dang bullish open. So it's looking like if we do remain bullish here today, it looks like we may try to come back and retest that all-time new high. So I'll set up my lines just to get started here. I'm not quite ready to take my long just yet. So what I'll normally do is start with a horizontal line. We'll make this one a green one to represent the buy. And essentially what I'm going to do is pre-populate the line with a buy order.
Okay.
This would include the message to trade MNQ. We'll buy. It doesn't send a quantity because each of my strategy subscriptions contains the quantity I should trade. The default is 1, and then I have some of my subscriptions set to 2 contracts at a time. Those are on the larger accounts. And then essentially, now that I've set the text for this line, if I create an alert from it, that text is pre-populated in the message for the alert. And then I just paste in my webhook URL for Traders Post, and I'm off and running. Now I have an alert set. If price crosses above this line, and sorry, I have my charts flipped upside down. If price crosses above, then we'll buy this position here. What I'm kind of hoping for is either we break out higher or we retrace and retest VWAP from here. I'm not quite ready to get in because I do expect that sellers will pull back just a little bit, and then we'll come back and test VWAP, in which case I'll be looking to get long from there and then buy the bounce.
You pretty much always wait for pullbacks?
Sometimes it just, like I said, every session is a little different. The market basically starts to spell out a trend within the first 15 minutes or so. And oftentimes I've seen that with these sort of initial bullish moves, they fail almost immediately. So I'm just waiting to see if the market really does intend to move to the upside today. So some of this is just that little safety net. Some people choose time as their safety net. I choose retraces as my safety net just to make sure that we are indeed moving upward. I definitely like it from this zone. Like I said, the 22.6 line is a very important line for the market, it seems. So if that is indeed support, I'm going to be pretty excited about this long. What's interesting though is if we pull back further and close below these green EMA lines, this is looking like a little bit different of a short for me. I tried to show this setup on a live stream yesterday. Essentially, this would be a fib retrace and extension, and it looks like price actually pulled back just enough to touch the 0618 line. And if it closes below these two EMAs right here, this would be the 855 EMA strategy that we've published in Traders Post before. And in the past, that's had pretty significant performance, about 70%, 1.8 or 2 profit factor. And what we're looking for is essentially a nice move to the downside, a retrace to the 0618. And then essentially what we'll do is we'll use the fib extension tool to determine where our target's going to be. So we pull it back to this zone, And that tells us that if we close below that 8 EMA, our take profit is going to be somewhere down here at 22.4, which interestingly would line up roughly with this support zone right here. So I'm kind of prepared for the potential of a bearish move, but obviously the higher probability of a bullish move here. What are we seeing on gold or oil today? It's interesting. It looks like oil finally found a very solid support zone here, right above the 200-day moving average.
Gold looks like it could move higher.
All right, I think this is a good entry for a test here. Let's give this initial trade a try. So what I just did is triggered that alert line. It sent a buy order to buy 1 MNQ across most of my accounts. And some of them are 2 contracts, but you can see here on my dashboard, I'm in that trade across, that's weird, didn't load everything. There we go. You can see it's across all of my prop accounts, including my new futures desk accounts. But I'm going to show the dashboard here with that 1 long contract. Here's my buy signal across all of those accounts. And we're just going to go ahead and keep an eye on this trade now. Like I mentioned, this is trading from the NQ chart, but I hard coded the MNQU symbol. So it's not going to actually trade NQ. We're just trading MNQ to start. I do this for risk management purposes. It's very easy to manage risk if you're trading micros. If I just start with 1 contract and slowly scale to 5 or 6 contracts, I can build up basically half an NQ position slowly with risk management. The trades that are the best trades are the ones that start to go in my favor within the first 5 minutes or so. And so if it turns against me, I'm ready to get out of this trade almost immediately and risk very little. But if it heads my direction, I'm going to get ready to start adding. So for example, there's a good opportunity to just go ahead and buy the top of these wicks, which would be a breakout. There's the 15-minute mark where most people start to set their or breakout strategies. So if I'm buying with a lot of other buyers as well. So there it is. That's the second signal I just sent. We go back to my strategy. You can see I'm long 2 contracts now. Nice bullish wick. Keep an eye on I tend to open Tradevate separately in another window and just keep an eye on the P&L of any one of these accounts. Obviously, I have lots of prop firm accounts connected to my system. So I can look at any one of these independently and they all kind of average out to the same. So at the moment, I'm up $40 on this trade.
This music, I'm just like,
so dramatic.
Let's go. It's like we're robbing a bank or something.
Putting me in the mood for sure. All right, I love it. This is a great bounce from the support zone. Buyers obviously showed up where I thought they might. There's a couple of areas of resistance that I would hope to cross. So 22,782 and 22,850 or so. Again, prices are pretty blurry on NQ. Things move fast enough to where it's not precision here. We're looking for zones. All right, so now that I've kind of started a position, I'm going to use this new indicator that Tom put together, which is my exit levels indicator. And basically, this is going to help me keep track of the position in real time. This again. And it'll tell me what my open P&L is. I just have to go grab my average in. So we'll say our average fill price is 22,704.38. We are long, we're in 2 contracts. And we'll set our take around 22,790 to start just to get it on the chart and 22,644 as the stop. All right, so right off the bat, we have a little bit of a problem. Since I'm trading from the NQ chart, this is not an accurate reflection of my P&L because we're actually trading M and Q. So I think what I might do here, yeah, exactly. What I might do is work with Tom to see if we can actually specify the symbol so that you can trade from the NQ chart, but actually get your P&L from M and Q. So this isn't going to work for us today. I totally forgot. All right, for opening sessions like this, especially as we're crossing above all these moving averages on the 5-minute chart, we're starting to cross above these averages on the 15-minute chart. I'm going to wait for these small pullbacks to add to my position because I just want to get more confirmation that the market wants to continue upward. So if NQ is bullish, that means gold should be bearish, and there's an opportunity to short gold while we're long NQ. I'm going to get a short symbol set, or a short line set up. Right now the front contract on gold is MGC Q. All right, so let's say it's taking me way too long to get set up here. I can always go to my dashboard and put in MGC, and I can actually trade from the Traders Post charts. So if I really want to get into a position across all these accounts right now, then I can go ahead and just send a sell signal, and this is going to trade all those accounts simultaneously. That's our favorite sound in the world. You know, Trevor, one of the things I noticed is if you have multiple accounts in a Trade-Evade account, you'll get the order filled sound across all of them simultaneously. Oh, so instead of it being somewhat quiet, yeah, exactly. It's that same sound multiplied by 20 accounts.
I've scared my wife before if I'm like trading mobily and my computer's open, she'll be in the basement. I'll just be like, order filled, just that noise.
It's an important noise. It's the one we're listening for, especially when we're ready to exit. All right, so I mentioned earlier I keep an eye on my other strategy, the automated strategy for VWAP to close. It just threw off a buy long signal, and we're already in by 3 contracts, or excuse me, by 2. And we just added a short for gold because it tends to move in an anti-correlated way. Right now, the correlation coefficient between gold and NQ is negative 0.19. Not incredibly strong. I've definitely seen it stronger at the open, where it's closer to like 0.7, negative 0.7 or negative 0.8, which is obviously inversely correlated, and we can really depend on gold falling while NQ is rising. But so far, that trade is starting to play out. I'll have to keep an eye on gold. It may come back and retrace here and retest VWAP itself, in which case we'll be looking to add to our short there. So long two M&Q, short 1 contract MGC. Still like the bullish move on NQ, so I'm going to go ahead and pull back my buy alert line down to 22,700 and try to add 1 more contract here if the market decides to pull back and test this once more. So for both of these trades, essentially I am building a position slowly from the open, but I'm still going to manage each position to where I'm only taking $200 of risk. So that's the big thing for me is when it comes to trading, I have no idea where the take profit is yet. And it depends on where the move goes. But I do know exactly where my stop loss is. And that's the one thing that's in my control. is exactly where I get out. So I'll start setting up my stop loss alert, but I haven't set it up yet. I know most people are like, dude, you're sitting here with a naked position. That's true. There could be a flash and that occurs, and that's something I'm going to have to manage independently. But I'll set up my exit line here in a second, and I'm going to calculate it from 3 contracts to basically exit if we get to a $200 loss.
So you have a set risk, but no set reward?
Correct, because the market will go where the market wants to go, and we take the trend until it ends. So sometimes there are areas of resistance that I might be concerned about. And if I start to see that the market is pulling back off that resistance, that might be my take profit. But in generally, I think risk reward is one of those things where you can very easily leave money on the table if you try to take profits too early. That said, some of your performance can suffer if you don't take profits early. It just depends on the strength of the move. Right now, what we know is that NQ in general is very bullish and continues to remain very bullish. So I want to be here for the remainder of that move, especially if we bounce off of key support areas. Interesting. So gold is not really wanting to fall as much as I thought it would. Picked up a decent entry, but I think I'm going to want to start to add to this here. That looks good. That looks good. When in doubt, if you're not sure what JSON message to use, you can always come over here to your strategy dashboard and basically set up a JSON message from the order panel. You can include things like take profits and stop losses and anything else you like. Essentially, you'll hit the sell button. It's going to give you this confirmation dialog, and it'll give you the message that you need to use. You can replace this message with things like time now and close. I tend to modify these when they come in. In the future, we're making some improvements there on Traders Post to make the messages savable so that you can very quickly copy them and then paste them into your alerts on TradingView. All right, there's that short starting to prove in my direction. Have you worked with regression trends yet?
I've messed around with them. I haven't used them in my trading. Do you do the volume candle thing?
Yeah,
I remember when
I'm a
that
huge
first
fan.
came out, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, they are definitely cool. They, I think the nice thing about them is that I can basically just have the price chart, but still see volume at the same time, because it's all relative candles. So, you know, I can see here that there was a nice bullish move with volume right here, with volume right here, and there's some volume to the to this side here. And if I look at the chart, sure enough, you know, it's pretty clear that you can see the same volume candles by looking at them from here. So it just kind of it conglomerates the view all into one, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's gold doing? Continuing to fall. I like it. I don't see any incoming chat here except from Tom. Tom's decided that he's going to start training an AI model from our live stream trading. I would hope, Tom, that you use this opportunity to... Sorry, getting another message here. One sec. I would hope you use this opportunity to also like backtest me, because you know my win rate's not 100%. So if you're gonna do the AI thing, like let's get it right. All right, I like that bounce off of the regression trend. didn't quite pull back to VWAP the way that I'd hoped. I'm going to grab, well, too late. So I'll wait for a little bit of a pullback and then I'll drop it here. Okay, so we're in by 3 now. Still short gold. I might come back over here and add to my short on gold. Yeah, the price action on gold is pretty interesting.
Gold just, if you catch it, if you catch it the right way, it's like, oh, and if you're wrong, it's like, oh my God, especially if you're in a mini.
Yeah, same deal though. The nice thing is being in micros, I can manage risk quite well. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put Tom's exit level indicator on here. All it means is that the numbers are gonna be slightly wrong. We just have to divide by 10 in our heads. So it's gonna look like I made a lot of money on this trade, but it's not that much.
You're like, wow, that Mike is a good trader.
Yeah, I'm digging this this script that Tom put together. I think it's going to have some features that will really help manage the position once you're in it, but it can also do entries as well. I just find it a little bit easier to get my entries in with the lines themselves. So the idea here, though, is that in the settings of the indicator, you'll have the ability to do different types of stop losses and take profits. You can do like ATR stops, ATR based exits, trailing stops, base it off of pips or percentage or ticks or whatever you prefer. So right now I'm just going to do the lines, and then essentially what you can do is 52, that up there. Essentially what you can do is not only can you drag these lines to where I can now move my take profit if I wanted to, or move my stop loss if I wanted to, but then I can set up an alert from this indicator so that if either of those lines is triggered, it would send off an exit signal to Traders Post. So this can be used to kind of manage my position as well.
Nice.
All right, interesting. So gold's trying to come back and retrace and test VWAP and the electronic session VWAP. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this second sell signal in here. We'll add to that short if we pull up a little bit more. So in answer to our AI process, Tom says backtests are too slow. Live money. Sounds good. Let's do it.
We're not entirely sure that he and Peter are not AI, so I don't know how I feel about that. Giving us all of his friends our data.
So if you're just joining us, I see a few new visitors have just joined. I am not in NQ, I am in M and Q. So the price you see on the chart here for my P&L, just divide that by 10. Off to a good start here, but only up about $60, $70, $80. We're going to start adding to this position. We saw a nice pullback off of the linear regression trend, which obviously lines up with VWAP anyway, and it's looking pretty bullish for NQ. Gold is now pulling back again. That's what I like to see. All right, so basically still at entry for gold, up $50 on M&Q. The nice thing is I do have a larger Apex account, which is 150,000 account. So that is actually up a little bit more because I'm in 6 contracts there already and 2 contracts short on gold. So everything is kind of doubled there because the size is a little bit larger.
How many people are viewing right now?
I don't remember where we see that. 10,000 people.
54. Dig it.
I don't remember where we actually see that. I saw 30 or so people on Twitter. Somebody's watching.
Somebody's watching.
Okay, so these were just demonstrations. This isn't where I'm taking profits yet, so let me push that guy way up there. Looking pretty good though. M&Q is pushing harder, so now I'm up 155 on this trade. Gold is basically break even at $10 down. Let's go take a look at gold again. Oh, cool. This might be a good spot to actually add to my short. I'm liking the direction. We're below, all the EMAs on the 15-minute chart. Looks like a little bit of a pullback here. Nice solid candle showing a bearish sentiment for the open. We're off of this resistance level for the 2-hour. I'm just going to add here. All right, so that now has us short 2 contracts on MGC. You guys have any questions, any comments, any criticisms? Like, what the hell is Mike doing? Trevor, am I doing any crazy things? This feels like a good move.
Not doing any crazy stuff, no. I mean, I think it'd be good to show just in general how to, if you wanted to manually trade via the interface too, which we could do when you're not in a trade.
Yeah, so we kind of did that earlier when we got into gold. But in general, I would just go to my strategy, head to the dashboard. I can see from the leader account, which again, we don't really have a concept of parent or child on Traders Post. You essentially have a strategy and you have all of the accounts connected to that strategy and they all get traded concurrently or in parallel. So you can choose an account to follow if you're trying to, keep track of your open positions across these accounts. You can see that sell signal that just came in for micro gold, and it traded across all 28 accounts. And I can manage the position here, meaning that if I click on M&Q and I set up an exit order and I click this button and click exit, that's going to exit across all of my accounts, not just this one quote unquote parent account. I can also close the position from here as well, and that would send a signal to the rest of the accounts. I can trade other tickers here. I have this strategy sort of locked in to where it's only allowed to trade certain tickers. So I could come over here to crude and I could set up a new order panel and I could trade micro crude and buy this across all those accounts as well. But I'm kind of up against some limits here pretty quickly. I'm allowed to trade, I think, 20 micros on most of these accounts. I'm in M&Q by 3 and short gold by 2. So, I can only add a few more contracts on either side before I start to feel uncomfortable with my position. But then obviously I can only get up to 10 on both gold and M&Q before I hit that limit for the prop firm accounts. This is looking great. Nice bullish move here. So I think the resistance level I'm going to be looking for here is the weekly VWAP. It's Tuesday, start of the week here. It's Wednesday, start of the week here. Halfway through the week, I would expect a retest here on the weekly VWAP. So 22,774 is going to be an interesting zone to keep an eye on.
This week is super weird. Yesterday, the day before, I had no clue. I felt like a Saturday yesterday. Well, what's going on?
I always get messed up on my days too. What day is it? Monday? Is it Monday again? Cool. I'm liking this gold short as well. Pretty good confirmation below all those EMAs. Plenty of room to move down before we start testing recent support zones. So gold, we're up $40. M&Q, we're up $170 now. Open P&L is about 210. I'm not after huge swings. I am definitely one of these slow and go types when it comes to prop firm trading. And the main reason for that is that even with a $100,000 account, which I don't even think about the account size, I think about the distance to drawdown. That distance to drawdown for most of these accounts is either $2,500 or $3,000. And I've traded in my own live futures account for a long time. And I can tell you right now that if you have $3,000 in a futures account, that is basically nothing. You can barely trade that account without, effectively losing all of it. So if you think of it in terms of that distance to drawdown, we want to keep our sizes really small and we want to catch moves that last a while. So I tend to be in the markets for an hour and a half to sometimes 3 hours, depending on how much that move really moves for. And I'm looking for $500 days and $200 losses overall on the day. By getting into both gold, crude, and M&Q at the same time, it helps me kind of hedge against different directionality. If NQ starts to fail, but gold continues in my direction, at least I have something to kind of help me maintain a position that's heading in the right direction. How do you tend to think about risk management in prop, Trevor?
It's the same. I think people get confused and bogged down with account sizes. It's all about the drawdown, especially with Top Step. So, it's whatever you're trading. I like to illustrate it as showing just put like a rectangle on the screen with the amount of loss that you would get. So one MNQ contract on $2,000 drawdowns, 1,000 points, which on most days is a multiple days range. Yeah. NQ is it's 100 points, so that's nothing really. A lot of people that I talk to on the daily basis are just blowing through these accounts. I'm like, well, how are you? I buy an account and it's gone within a minute. I'm like, what do you trade? Oh, I'm trading 5 MNQ or something. It's 10, 20 point or whatever that is, 20 points. Prop, I think, is a very unique risk to reward thing where for $200 you're getting $2,000 of loss. So I think what happens is a lot of people will try to go too fast, and with one MNQ or two MNQ, you can make a couple $100 if you are trading during the day and not being an idiot. And not saying that your strategy should have no stop, but I don't know. It's with if you have $2,000 of free loss and you're trading one MNQ, unless you have literally the worst entry in the world, you can pretty much just enter and wait until it's in profit. And sure. I think that's just people want to go fast, and that's not fast enough. But if you can kind of close your eyes and plug your ears and not look on Twitter and, oh, I got $20,000 across 20 accounts, you could very easily make $200 a day on one MNQ with indiscriminate entries and get your payouts. But no one wants to do that. That's not sexy.
I agree. And I think people are, in general, always in trading looking for that fast win. But I think the reality is maybe the way to flip that thinking around is to say, I'd rather be in a position where I'm managing risk slowly, right? It's really tough to manage risk in a very high-paced environment. If I was trading 5 NQ contracts, I'm like, where do I place my stop? Oh my God, I'm already down $300, right? Mm-hmm. Price moves by 10 points, I'm screwed. And so being able to manage risk slowly in that way, like you said, you could enter one MNQ contract and price could move by 100 points and you've only lost $200. Yeah,
everyone, oh my God, I love this dump. And you're just down $70.
Not a big deal. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Maybe at the end of the day, you close out a position down $300, and then as soon as 6 p.m. hits, you just get back in.
Right.
You can't swing, but pretty much. I mean, you could have caught if you would have just tried to, on a daily trend or something, entered one MNQ and swung it, essentially closing it out, getting back in. That is the value proposition of prop, is that you get $2,000 of free loss, and you just emotionally cannot go, screw it, it's only $200, I'm gonna go crazy and try to make $10,000 tomorrow. Like, it's not gonna happen. And there are people that do that, but like, just be happy. Like, you could go an entire summer and pull down $5,000, and if that was your own, if you put in $2,000 into a personal account, that'd be huge. But it's this weird thing, as soon as you turn it on, you know, especially with like Project X and all the features that they give us for symbol blocking. I don't need to block NQ, I just won't trade it. It's there, and you can do 2 of them. And if you press it in the right moment, you can make $1,000 in a second, but also you could lose it all, and all your work is gone.
I think that's the worst part of it. And maybe that's what I keep in my mind constantly, is like being really close to the goal and then going on tilt and losing all of it, or being really close to a payout and going on tilt and not getting to that payout. And now your drawdown amount is even smaller. You have less to work with, right? So to me, it's like each day you get into this, you're trying to avoid losing. You're trying to manage that possibility that you eliminate all that drawdown potential that you have. And then, of course, once you're in that position, just nursing it as far as it can possibly go, like we're doing right now. So we're up $300 on this MNQ position, 280 to be precise. And that took barely any effort to, you know, enter and average into this position. My initial risk, I think my initial excursion on this trade was $20-something, you know, so we're not risking a ton to make a ton here. You know, right off the bat, I probably would have taken a stop loss at about $100 if we closed below VWAP. So my risk to reward profile on this almost immediately is much greater than even a profit factor of 2. So even with a win rate of 50%, which I tend to be right about 50% of the time, my risk to reward ratio is between 3 and 5 on most days. And then it's just all about consistency after that, showing up and waiting for that opportunity every day.
I think too, what I've realized, like in the last 2 weeks, I told you that my son was in the hospital, and the time that I was in there, I was, you know, and you shouldn't be going like, oh, how much is this going to cost? But that is a legitimate concern. I was like, man, I'm so happy that Top Step and Prop exists, that you could kind of gun to your head, if you had to, could you make 25 grand by Friday? Like, the loan shark's out to get you. You need 25 grand. You could make it, and it's possible, and it's there without risking more than $1,000. And I think, you know, having daily goals is stupid, because if you're hot, you know, whatever the gambling word is, you're on a heater, you know, the market's ripping, it's stupid to not continue. I mean, if you're looking at the chart and going, I can see what's happening, everyone can see what's happening, like today right now is probably like a super bullish move. To stop it, to lock yourself out. And I found that overnight trading, I get so exhausted by the next day that I'm like, I'm just gonna lock myself out. But have an actual goal of trying to pay for something, I think, especially with prop, because it should kind of start out as just like this fun money thing, where when I had to pay the hospital bills, I was super disciplined. And as soon as they were paid off, I blew the account within a day, because it was just like, all right, well, now it's just kind of like going to my savings or whatever. So now, like I said to my wife, I'm like, I'm just going to try to pay our mortgage. Like, that would be fun. $2,500 a month, you know, tax, like that would be a nice thing. And I think between going, I'm going to trade too large, I don't have a daily goal, I don't know when to stop, and just trading to make as much money as possible, I think is super dangerous. So if you're like, hey, you know what, if I could make $1,000 a month and pay off something, would that be of value? And then you stop comparing yourself to the people that are getting, you know, $1 million payouts.
Right. I think for me, I completely understand the pressure I think you were under, even with your son's bills there. It's because of that pressure that, like, the only objective is to show up here and just stay consistent, so that you're continuing to add to that every single day. It's tough though. I mean, especially if you have some kind of emergency or something. So I don't know. I think in general, it's good advice to always have some kind of a side income or, you know, employment. Obviously, having you on our team is fantastic, and you know, me being in a position of running the company is obviously, you know, the backdrop to all of this. But I want to see some consistency from this, obviously, and I want to see this pay off. And we've been doing this lately too, where the story I think that you're illuminating there is showing up all over the place. We interviewed Tyler G, we interviewed Dan, we interviewed several Rebecca, and we've got these stories of just everyday people trading prop accounts, and like Rebecca's trading on Traders Post as well, managing her lines on the chart and trading across multiple prop firms. I think she passed like 15 or 16 accounts on her platform as well, and got to funded. And the stories I think are the most compelling part, is that it's just everyday people. We're all here showing up to the market, making a read on it and managing risk. And those stories around needing the capital, or like having a need for a new bill coming up, things like that, it's all so relatable. And I think, to your point, prop provides that opportunity to get in and stay in at a very low cost without like, I'm imagining if you were trying to trade a live futures account and you're like, well, I got like $7,000 in this account, but I got some bills coming up, so I got to pull this money out, and now I'm starting over with $1,500. Bummer. Like that.
I mean, what's so great about prop. I mean, that's what the business is. But when you do eventually blow an account, which everyone does, it's no harm, no foul to you. It's, you had $5,000 in it, and oops, I was silly, and now it's gone. I have to start. With prop, it's obviously the cost of the evaluations and combines, and express accounts, which can add up if you're being silly, but it's an opportunity cost. It's a time cost. Oh, let me just pass this eval real quick, and then all of a sudden you blow 5 of them in a week go by, and there's a huge bullish move. So yeah, the demons to fight are I can trade at any moment because it's free and it's on my phone, and I can press a button and it's six o'clock. That my demon is 6 o'clock. As soon as the market opens, I'm like, time to make the donuts, time to long. And I'm like sitting at dinner.
You trade the electronic session when it opens?
I don't know. You've already judged me for this. It depends. Like Sunday night.
You for it. Just to
no,
be clear,
you were like, dude, that's not even a session. I'm like, I know. Like Sunday night at 6 o'clock.
I don't feel like I said that.
Sunday at 6 is like the Super Bowl sometimes. Monday at 6 is completely different, and I haven't been able to make that distinction in my brain of like, Monday at 6 was just, the market just happened to close for an hour. Sunday at 6 is like all this pent up energy that's being released, onto the market. Whatever. But yeah, prop is it's an amazing opportunity, and it may not be here forever. So I would implore people that, if you're the only reason that you're not successful is because you don't have rules, then grow up and make some rules and start actually following them.
It's funny. I read the book The Best Loser Wins, which was recommended to me by John, Farming for Futures, that we interviewed on the show as well. And fantastic book. That one definitely helps get the mindset right in general for risk management. But then I also started reading Trading in the Zone, and that was another one that was just fantastic at sort of helping you align your psychology in the right way. I think there's often very good reasons that people don't set rules, and a lot of it comes down to those same 4 areas where people are afraid. And fear, unfortunately, I think is one of the biggest drivers that keeps people from success in this. You've got sorry, let me just nurse this trade for a second, make sure this is working right.
Perfect. I mean, what a first trade here.
I mean, incredible bullish move for sure. All right, this is looking good. So I added to my position here on gold on the short side. So we're short 3 gold and we are long 3 MNQ. We're basically break even on gold. I would have expected a little bit further pullback here on gold so far, but it looks like it's retracing back to test these EMAs and SMAs.
Grab some
no
water.
Problem. We'll hold that one a little bit longer. Our risk is very tiny on that. I'm down $19 on it. So while we're up 300 on MNQ, I've got a small loss, very tiny loss on gold. And we'll see if we can stay below VWAP here before I decide if I'm going to get out of this trade or not. So anyway, the point I was trying to make is I think the book covers this really well. There's basically 4 fears in trading. It's being wrong, losing money, missing out, and leaving money on the table. And it is the being wrong and losing money part that I think people get really, really wrapped up in. You get into a trade and you're afraid of that loss. And so you either averaged into the loss hoping that you can recover from it, or you revenge trade in order to recover from those losses. You know, the story is so consistent. It's kind of the same thing for all of us over and over again. So I think getting past the fears that are so common in our behavior, and getting to a point where we truly like accept the risk, say, okay, I'm getting into this trade, I'm visualizing it can go against me, I have a $200 stop prepared, and if it hits that point, I'm getting out immediately at that point. That to me is not, there's sort of 2 components to that. One is the acceptance of it, the responsibility of it, basically saying to yourself, like, if this goes against me, I'm going to get out at this point, and I'm fully responsible for that outcome. The other part of it is accepting that there is going to be a loss, right? That it's not something I can avoid. I can't change the direction of the market, so I'm fully accepting that it's going to go that it can go that direction. All right, so we're about ready to test the weekly VWAP on NQ, which is an area that I'm concerned about from a take profit perspective. This could be where I decide to pull out of this trade. I want to see how the market's going to respond to it, because sellers could step in here. It's a, obviously very bullish move, but that could be an area of resistance. It also happens to be slightly below the last high during the electronic session. And if it continues in this way and reverses from here, that would effectively post a lower high and start to form a bit of a downtrend here. So if we kind of like measure out this trend from here to here and extend these lines, yeah, we're basically right up against the edge of this trend line here.
Tom asked to lower the music a little bit. I don't know if you saw that.
That was earlier, and I did move
Oh,
it
did
down.
you do it? You did. I just saw it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still too loud. If it is, y'all can yell at me, though.
It's very suspenseful.
Peter said he wants to see the rogue trading. So I was joking about this yesterday, that like one of my issues right now is that it's earlier for me in Mountain Time, and I just realized you sent me a message here on Slack. Did you want to share your results there?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
I'm sitting here on a $300 trade, and Trevor's like, by the way,
I can't. let me look at my. Sorry. All right. So I mean, okay. So I made $3,000. So this is what this is what prop is about. So if there's a move that is obvious and it's there, prop is for, of course.
Wow. Sorry, we just broke well above that weekly
nice.
VWAP. Yeah.
I put my take profits right up there. Anyway, prop should not be for, hey, I can online sports bet on my phone at any moment, just whip it out and enter a trade. It should be during the day when like you can't stop doing SPX and losing thousands of dollars in SPX, and you're trigger shy and you don't want to risk your own money, but the move is obvious, but you're just like, I just can't press the button. That's what prop is for today, where you're just like, screw it. I feel like this is one of those moves, get in an NQ and just let the thing ride. Okay. Those are days like that. And then separating that from just tomorrow, when the day doesn't look like that and you show up with the same exact strategy and the same exact sizing and you're like, okay, time to go long and let it run for 100 points. Like, it's not the same. And that is what you have to manage. I don't think that the prop firms, there's obviously rules and everything is designed to help you or stop you or whatever. Sometimes it feels like the top step, in particular, like the 5 days of $200 thing, makes it psychologically feel like you need to trade every single day. And if you lose a day, you lost time. So if I don't trade tomorrow and make my $200, now the payout's pushed back, when really maybe you trade 5 days a month and have the 5 days that you do trade be incredible days, and you make $10,000 in a month and take one payout a month, I don't think that would be a bad way to look at it. I think over trading because it's available is an issue. So maybe it just happened to be that today was a crazy bullish move and I happened to turn the Express on this morning, but I entered with the idea of this will be for my IRA, and then just kind of was like, well, it's better than trading SPX on my IRA, so might as well go heavy on it.
Interesting. I love that you.
When
did
I'm
that
good,
so
I'm
overtly.
awesome, and when I'm bad, I don't know when to cut it. So
I see.
I need to just only play to these types of days.
So we just got to clean up your risk management, and you're good to go.
Oh, there is no risk management at all.
Okay.
But it's very similar to you, though. It's when you were saying that, like, when you're right immediately. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I probably don't, even trading NQ, I probably don't have more than $200 in drawdown on one NQ. I'm never more than 10 points wrong when I'm right. And when I'm wrong, it's you're looking at you're in the DOM waiting for the thing to come to where you are, and you look down and it's just like 100, 152, 253, 3, 4, 5, and you're like, oh fuck. That's right.
Got it.
So if I did put an actual stop at $200, I would probably never hit it 90% of the time. But when I do hit it, it's probably not a position I want to be in anyway.
I think that's definitely similar thought process for me. When I get into a trade, even just the first M&Q contract will usually head the direction I'm expecting. And if it doesn't, I don't have to nurse a huge loss. I can even let price move by 100 points and I still take my $200 loss on that one contract. Again, that's why it's my favorite way to trade this way. This is interesting. I can't tell if gold wants to move in step with NQ or not. It's negatively correlated, but it still keeps trying to push upward. So I might be getting out on gold with a small loss. So we are now up $500 on my M&Q trade, and I'm down $50 on gold. $450 on the session so far. I'll keep an eye on gold and see where it wants to go. So interesting to see that buyers said, we're moving. We've now passed the edges of this linear trend on the 15-minute chart, which is a very short, downtrend here. But obviously for the last day and a half or so, sellers have been trying to find a zone where we're going to pull back, and the buyers are winning every time. So on the short side, it's really hard to stay short. There's no follow through. The bulls will step back in and push the market the other direction. So it's nice to actually be on the other side of this trade and not be on the short side and just carry this trade as far as possible. It's fascinating to me how much bullish activity there has been since April 9th. If we look back on the charts here, I think Trump had tweeted on April 7th. No, sorry, he tweeted on April 9th that it's a good time to buy. And that was one of the biggest candles I had seen on NQ in a while. It was that roughly 2,400 points in one day. And ever since then, we keep seeing these bullish moves that continue in a similar fashion. Right where you think the sell side will continue, buyers just step right back in again. And that feels like that's what's happening here today.
Yeah, I saw something that was like, oh man, he's like best trader ever. Just like, if you can move the markets with the tweet, I don't think that necessarily makes you a good trader.
I mean, I guess it depends on how he positioned himself. I love the stories of like Bill Ackman, where right during COVID, he bought like maybe it was closer to $50 or $60 million worth of credit default swaps and made billions of dollars on that one trade. I don't have the exact numbers. Let's see. Bill Ackman COVID CDS trade. Yeah, it was a $27 million investment into CDSs and he turned that into $2.7 billion in 30 days. I'd say that's probably one of the best trades of all time.
Yeah.
Tom says liquidity up and to the right, NASDAQ, Bitcoin up and to the right. Easy. Totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
The trend is bullish. If you're trying to get bearish in this market, good luck. That's been my dilemma. And Trevor, I've been sharing this with everybody because like if I can help anybody, do better in their trading, I'm all for it. But because I have such a short bias and I look for these kinds of moves right here, like this was great yesterday. I didn't go as far as I would have liked on this trade yesterday, but it's still a fantastic pullback. I see the pattern for the short side better than I see the pattern for the long side. For some reason, when the price goes above VWAP, I just don't see it the same way. It's not, I don't recognize it in the same way. I see this as chop. I see this as another perfect opportunity. This is exactly the type of close below VWAP that would want to get me into a short. The problem I have on the long side is I just don't see it the same way. When I look at it, I don't see the pattern, right? So to fix this problem, I've decided I'm going to invert the chart.
So I was about to say,
yeah,
you invert the chart,
now,
and people think you're crazy, and it's so clear.
It's so clear now. This is the same pattern. So now I can see this close below VWAP, and this is where I'm looking to get quote unquote short. Anyway, that's my little trick there. If you want to do it on the keyboard, it's Alt-I, and that allows you to flip the chart upside down.
It's funny. I'm the opposite. I'm long. I can see it, and I know why it is. But when it's short, I think we're just doing some sort of, like high or low kind of zoom back up motion.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, if you inverted it and looked at a short, you would be like, oh, that's obviously a rejection and bounce on the short side. So
right.
I hate that. Those first candles on it, like a death candle, and then it bounces up a little bit. I'm like, okay, here we go. We're just going to bounce V shape, and it is just a bounce rejection.
Yep. I can't be the only person who's thought of it too. They obviously built the feature for a reason. I'm kind of curious, like what other people use invert scale for, other than like trying to see the pattern in the same direction.
If you're really trying to get crazy, you could make a 2-panel layout, which I've done before. Mm-hmm. And on the inverted one, you can change the candle colors to the other way. And then you have to label it in a way where that's it, because it gets a little confusing. But
I actually kind of need the candles to be green so that I remember to use my green line to buy instead of sell. So that helps. Exactly. Tom says, wait until you forget the chart is inverted and you sell when you should buy. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I got to keep the colors consistent. So green is buy, red is sell. All right, solid close above the weekly VWAP. We've broken out of this channel, pushing to the upside. I think, let's see, NQ's up 0.5 percentage point today. There's plenty of room to the upside. So back to my original point here, I don't have specific take profits. I will ride this move for as long as it's available to me. What I would like to do is start measuring ATR and start thinking about like worst case scenarios, where should I get out? So I'll put this back to where my original entry was. We'll follow by about a 1.5 ATR. And I just want to keep track of ATR from here. So I use the linear regression channel and ATR as sort of a guide for where I might set up a trailing stop at this point. But honestly, I don't want to get stopped out too early. Buyers keep showing up, and I want to carry this as far as possible. So we're up 567 on this M&Q trade now. Down 70 on gold, because gold has decided it doesn't want to pull back. So I might be exiting this gold trade. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and set up my exit signal for this guy.
Need to add you to Trendbot. Trendbot has ATR and tick on ATR, so you can see like the New York Stock Exchange tick value.
Got it.
Pretty cool.
Hook me up. Okay, gold's going to turn against me, so it'll end up being about $100 loss total. Very well risk managed. We only got into 3 contracts there. We didn't add. And we're just going to keep letting NQ or M and Q ride as far as possible. Pull this out, get rid of some of this noise. Well, I see 74 people watching still. We've got plenty of eyeballs. I hope you guys are taking trades. I hope you're making money. I'm curious where you guys are at. Chime in. We've got chat live here. Don't just lurk. Participate.
That helped me though. I mean, I using my own brain hole. I was looking at longing, and then you, being the consummate shorter man, were like going, "Oh yeah, this is where I'm going to add." I was like, "Fuck yes, okay, we're good. I'm good. Mike's gonna long here." I was like, "I'm fine." Like I think I got, I was like flipping down like the 1 minute and like got back in on some stupid little rejection. And I'm like, "Oh god, this is it. This is the top." And you're like, "This is just what I'm looking for. I'm adding here." I'm like, "Sweet, I'm safe. If I go down, we're both going down." I forgot about that candle volume thing. It's so awesome when you see those big candles.
Yeah, I love it. It is such a great way to see all of the information in one candle. Open, high, low, close, and volume all in one. I mean, this is great. If gold decides, nope, screw it, we're going down again, I'll go ahead and let that trade continue. I do find it really strange. I mean, I guess the correlation is starting to drop. Or rise, rather. It had gotten to negative 0.6, and then now it's starting to push upward again. So it wants to move closer to the direction of NQ, and I'm not a fan of that. I need it to go the other way. Anyway, we're ready to get out of that trade if it turns against us.
Oh my god, I'm so dumb. For the longest time, I was like, this is so silly on Project X that you can't have 2 charts. Like, why can you only add 1 chart widget? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I just realized that you just make a layout with 2 charts on it, and then you can link a DOM to each one. God,
there you go. I was gonna say
that was what made me. Yeah, it's built in. I mean, that's just they're using the functionality of multiple layouts.
Right.
That was the other day when I meant to long 5 MNQ, and I had messed up my layout somehow, and I didn't realize the DOM wasn't attached, and I longed 5 NQ, and luckily got out. But that was probably the cue that I was about to blow the account the next day. I was like, yeah, I'm getting stupid.
Hey, there we go. Gold's just playing around. Fascinating. So I built this indicator recently that is the EMA slope filter, and I found that it's particularly good at direction changes above 15 and below negative 15. And so NQ fell down to 5.85 and didn't quite cross over into that negative territory. So this, this is nice, that seeing it line up with the indicator not going negative. You can see in other areas where it goes past negative 15, that there is a little bit of a bearish pullback there. So it's pretty good at sort of identifying trend change. And we didn't change trend here, so very bullish on NQ. Different story on gold though. I'm in this short, but we're actually above now, so it's looking more bullish. Obviously, we've broken out of this recent channel on gold as well. On the 2-hour chart, if I measure from here to here, this looks like it's a bit of a throwback here. So it'll pull back, retest this area, and then maybe push up from here. my whole point is that might explain why my gold short isn't working so well. It's a little too bullish on the higher time frame. All right, Trevor. So I think we'll probably get this going for a little bit longer here and then call it. But this has been fun. I think the process of trading the open, going live, throwing out some ideas on how we trade the markets, as well as showing how we're managing our trades through Traders Post and trading multiple prop accounts, setting up multiple strategies. We're happy to cover all kinds of different approaches here. As I mentioned earlier, this is my chart for my VWAP to close strategy, which had called the long much earlier in the session. And this particular strategy, let's see, right now, let's open this up a little bit. I have it too short of a time period. Oh, let's see the dilemma. So let's open this up to start of the year. Am I in the wrong time frame? No, that's right. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, let's go back to June. So I'm on the wrong chart to show the performance of the strategy, but I'll open up another chart in a second. Anyway, this one had taken the trade this morning and just on 2 contracts is also up 382, 350 at the moment. All right, let's take profits there. So we just hit our short, our stop on gold, and M&Q is pulling back pretty hard. So I went ahead and took profits there. That was a fast move to the downside, so obviously I didn't get out fast enough there. I should have set up my my alert there on the trailing exit. Maybe would have picked up another 50 or 60 bucks, but up 287.86 on the day. So that includes the loss on gold and all of the profit that we just made on NQ, or M&Q rather. Here's the performance chart. So yeah, that pullback was a little costly there. Still up on the day. I guess we lost Trevor. He disappeared. But thank you guys for participating. I think we are going to close up shop here. This is done for the day. Obviously in profit. Made a little bit of money today, and we'll come back and try it again tomorrow. Just looking to see if you guys had any questions before we go. And of course, buyers step right back in off of that dip, right off the weekly VWAP. Nonetheless, we took profits. We got out when we said we were going to get out. We avoided the loss on gold, and we made money today. So interesting thing, you stepped away for a second there, but there was a bit of a pullback candle on NQ. News. So I don't know about news. I didn't check, but what did we have today?
Whoops.
In any event, that pullback stopped me out on gold, and it stopped me out on M&Q. I had to manually exit on M&Q. So we're up 287 for the day, even with that small loss in gold. And you're doing much better. Nice work, Trevor.
Thank you.
All right, so I think we'll close up shop from here. It was a good trading session. Definitely a very bullish open. Glad we caught the right direction. We'll try this again tomorrow. We'll see where NASDAQ, gold, oil, Bitcoin shows up. I think Bitcoin wasn't very interesting. I took a look at it earlier and it just was chopping around its VWAP open. There might have been some interesting starting trades here, but not enough for me to get too interested. Oil had a decent short from the open. I think we missed that opportunity. And then gold decided to do a fake out.
Ripper.
Yeah. So I guess the other thing
19, come on.
19, what's that?
Nothing. That take profit that I had was 68. Damn. Another 50 points.
Well, so you had me definitely impressed there, but also perplexed. Like, we should have had your screen up here. You were covertly trading that whole time, and I had no.
I was doing the same thing that you were doing. That's why I was like, all right, well, we're all doing the same thing.
Fair enough, but you just decided to throw in 1 and 2 contracts into N and Q. Is that what you did?
It's pretty much one. I would one, and then if it pulled back, I would do another one. Which every time I'm like, this is stupid. But the first day, the first day of a new Express is just, you just got to go for it, and then after that, you pull back a little bit.
Yep, fair enough. All right, cool. We'll try this again tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Cheers, everyone.